Hello and welcome everyone. Today's video is on cheating on chess.com, as it is a serious problem. Despite what some people might say, it's a pretty serious problem, and I'm not going to go too much into that and proving that, but what I'm going to do is show you guys just the last person that I played who was banned for violating fair play, i.e. cheating. And just take a look at the game, and I'm going to give some advice to you guys, especially, I don't know how much cheating is like happening below 1500 elo. It might be harder to, well, maybe it's harder to catch, but maybe not actually, because if they're playing like a computer, I mean, at 1000 elo or lower, that's extremely unlikely. But I'm around 1900, so it can be kind of hard to judge just based off of play. But what I am going to do is just give you guys some advice on how to avoid this, because frankly, unless you want to be losing, I don't know, rating points could be every 10 games. There's plenty of evidence out there that 1 in 10 players you play are cheating, but definitely 1 in 20, you're going to have more than likely someone who's cheating, and you can try your best to avoid it. So this is a game I played just yesterday. I was live streaming and I was commentating on it. A lot of the viewers, I guess some people thought, yeah, it looks pretty fishy. Some people are like, oh, they're not cheating. Why is everyone so paranoid at this level? So this was a game against a 2061, and this is a rapid game. I believe it's a 15-minute. So let's just take a look at this. They played in English, which I am pretty bad at playing against, and immediately I was thrown off by this queen a4. I didn't know if this was theory or not. So I'm already out of book myself. I play knight c6, they go knight c3, I go knight f6, and I mean, I guess this is typical enough for this type of opening. Nothing looked too crazy. And then we have a 2061 blundering a very basic fork. So right off the bat, this would be enough typically to win the game. I mean, at this rating, you usually can convert a piece up. They do have a pawn for compensation, but still, I've got a whole piece up. And here's where things get interesting. It's kind of hard to note the time that they spent on each move because it's increment. There's 10-second increment each time. But you will notice that they're playing their moves really fast. And then from here on out, after full-on blundering a piece out of what is very, like, seriously, this is a very, very beginner level blunder. After that, they play basically perfectly. So just by the way, the game they played, it was 94.2% accuracy. They only had one blunder, and that was the blunder I just showed you. Everything else was best move, excellent, or good. Everything else was basically top engine level moves from here on out. So, and I played a decent game. I played like 83 point something percent accuracy. But what you guys will notice is that it's also very hard to play well. Like, you can kind of turn it back on yourself and think, yeah, but I also played a terrible game. Well, yeah, but look at when someone plays against like a grandmaster, they look terrible. It looks like you're like, why can't people play like this when they play against me? Because they're not playing you. They're playing a grandmaster, and it's going to, it's hard to play accurately when you're playing someone who is playing only the top moves. So I thought I actually did pretty well in the beginning here. Right away, I was like, when I saw e3, I was like, okay, they're getting a pretty big center here. I have to think about how I want to go about this. I was happy I found e4. I thought it was a pretty good move, just immediately trying to strike here, because if they were to push, I spotted that I can take on d4 because of the discovered. And if they don't, then I probably should have just taken here, and I didn't. I maintained the tension, just kept developing, but all my moves are okay, So I'm a piece up. Then here I was like, uh-oh, what do I do? And I made the wrong move because I saw I'm either I'm getting kicked or I'm full on trapping my bishop. They're going to trap my bishop. So I moved the queen back, which I guess was not the best move there. I went for a5. Okay, drop the bishop back. Obviously, I'm getting suffocated here. The pawns are just rolling down. And then here I just got desperate. I was like, all right, you know what? I don't want to just let my opponent steamroll me. I'm going to make do something stupid, but try to create some chances. I was thinking, of course, takes, and like I opened my rook up and I can try to start hunting the king, trying to bring the game more into something that I like, that I'm comfortable with, where I felt like I might have more chances, because I knew that just playing more and more passive, letting my opponent like steamroll those pawns down, is not how I play best. So first move that kind of surprised me was throwing in bishop takes f6. And I quickly realized that, well, I thought that I saw, okay, they did that because after takes, they have this, and then if I take, I can't take back. I'm losing a piece. And so I was like, oh my God, they calculated all that. Okay, I'm in big trouble. And that actually doesn't work because of you throw in the rook check, snap the rook off, and then actually black is just completely winning. I guess here you're supposed to, you're supposed to grab the rook that way. Black, this is like, it's mate in 5. So I think I would be able to figure that out even against a computer. Anyhow, I didn't play that. I took on, or I threw in rook a1 check first, snapped the rook off. I'm just thinking like, hey, I'm trying to just trade. Oh, well, I guess I don't have the advantage anymore. I sacrificed the knight, and yeah, from here on out, it's just like perfect play. Now, not all of the moves are like that difficult. There wasn't any one move that was like a brilliant move that they played in 3 seconds. I thought that a lot of the moves were pretty obvious. However, they were playing nearly perfectly. Here I traded off the bishop. I didn't want to, but I didn't see any other way. This move kind of threw me off too. They let me give the check to trade off the rooks that way. And then basically you'll just see how with that pawn cluster and the bishop, my opponent made it impossible for me to create any chances. So white's now winning. And there's just no way that I can get the king up really to try to win the d5 pawn. I thought if I win that d5 pawn, I'm fine. It should be equal, maybe even winning. I don't know. Here was probably the first move where I was like, wow, that's a good move. That's a really good move. And they played it. Yeah, they played it pretty quickly. I didn't see what to do, and there's no way I can protect this pawn. Look, like my king is completely restricted. Taking is bad because they take with check on top of that, I think. And if I push, then the king gets in, and it's completely losing at this point. So they found g4, which is not unfindable, but a really good move. Takes. I'm just trying to create some, I don't know, some chances here. I can't trade bishops. Yeah, and then just the rest of this game is here. It's pretty easy to convert, even if you weren't, cheating. And I lost. Then I went and checked out. So I actually looked at this person's profile right when I started the game, and oh, you can't even see when they made the account. But I looked at this person's account right when I made the game, but it was already too late, and I was so upset with myself because I already played the first move. I could no longer abort the game. I saw that they had created the account, I think it was February 2024. So it's not like a month old, but it's still, that's not a great sign. Having a 2000 whose account is not even, not even a year old. But mostly what was concerning is that if we go to the rapid games, which I did, you'll see that, yeah, I mean, out of all the games they've played, only 35, which is not that much. They win 74% of the time. That means 74% of the time at their rating, at level at rating 2000, they won 75% of their games. That's a lot. That's a lot. And then if you take a quick glance at their games, before, it looks like they played some more after our game here, but before that, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's an 8 win streak. Already, do you guys know how hard that is to do in Rapid? My highest win streak ever, let's check really quick. My highest win streak ever in Rapid was probably 8. Let's go to, yeah, ever was an 8 winning streak. And that's like, I'm on fire, right? This guy did it just yesterday. It would have been even more, but he drew one of the games. So that would have been 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm sorry, but this is evidence enough. What I did was I looked at they were playing still after they played me. So then I went and looked at their game, the next game they were playing. And pretty similar. They're playing the black pieces. The opening is like, okay. I don't know the Petrov, so I don't really know theory here, but, you know, white is already slightly better, right, out of the opening. And this is typical if you guys aren't aware. Cheaters will often play horribly in the opening because they're playing themselves. They're not using the computer. And then boom, they switch on the engine and they just demolish you and play flawlessly from then on out. So this was the next game that they were playing. And you'll see how there's a couple moves here where it was like, wow, they played really well. So slowly they're converting. White is still better, but you're going to see it's going to get turned around here. So first of all, they develop the bishop. They take and develop the bishop on d6. And then they go bishop b4, which of course is the top move. Letting white trade queens, knowing they can castle long, and if you were to take with a king, like that's just not an intuitive move. Normally you wouldn't want to go for that. They take back with the knight, and to note this, you know, the E knight is the best move. If they had taken with the C knight, I don't think it would be as good. So they still good, but they played the top move, which is the E knight takes on D8. Okay. The opponent castled short. So this is also, they're playing a 2000, right? A rated 2000. And they're playing like a 2000. They're not playing all of the top moves. They're playing some really, really good moves, and then they're making some mistakes and inaccuracies. Notably here, castling long would have been much better. You're immediately putting the rook on the open file. You don't need to worry too much about getting your king attacked because, so anyways, but they castled short. They take on c3, best move, knight e6. Okay, takes, knight a5. And then what I noticed here is that it says that it's good, but knight a5 is always, it's consistently the first or second line on like Stockfish on chess.coms. I don't know what they might be using, but knight a5 is the top line. So they play knight a5, then they play bishop e6. And I'm watching this live, right? I was watching this live and I pulled up a Elite Chess engine to just analyze as we went along. This move was where I was like, a little bit like, what is that? Why? So, you know, they can't move the H rook because then the H7 pawn drops. I suppose you might be able to trap it, so maybe that doesn't work. But I think for most of us, we would think just get those rooks on the open files. You just move this rook to D8. Why would you move it a second time to the E file? But it happens to be, let's see, rook D to E8 is the top move. So that was the first move where I was like, okay. And then bishop c4. All right, continuing to play the best moves here. Rook e6. Okay, all this is like pretty standard. Here's where it gets a little bit, yeah. So right here, which among you, right? This is a 2000 opponent. Both of them are 2000. It's pretty good, right? Which of you would think to play rook a6 and let your opponent give you a check on the 8th rank? Like, and they played this move really fast. They played this move like pretty fast. So that was the first move where I was like, maybe not the first move. That was one of the moves where I was like, okay, what is this move? They didn't do that. They just went rook e2 to defend. And then they maneuver the knight. Again, knight b6, best move. It says that, like, I'm a little bit confused on chess.com. It says that, like, technically, so rook a4 is the best. But if you look, it's always, like, let me show you guys my view here. So if you guys see, what I'm looking at is this first line right here. Whoops, trying to highlight just that one. So this first line, they're consistently playing that. But I guess technically these are the best moves up top. So you have rook a4 would have been the best, but he's playing knight b6, still really solid moves. Knight d5, that's the best. Takes. And you just see how white has like no chances. They're giving them no chances. All of these pawn moves, you know, it's possible a 2000 could play the wrong pawn move. Like, I don't know, they could think about going a4. I don't think so, but they happen to go b4, which is best. They keep pushing. And then white blunders. Like, white just full on blunders, which again is kind of okay. For some reason, the computer says this is excellent. I don't understand why, but they blunder, which is normal when you're you know, even for 2000, when you're under pressure, you know, you're losing, you know, and here, this was another move. I was like, really? So they give the check. In my mind, I would be thinking real quick. I'm not going to think too much. I'm going to go king c7. But king c7 is not the best move. The top move, once again, is king b7. So I noted that. And then knight takes is the best move, not king takes. Both are fine, obviously. Everything's winning. But they play knight takes. And then here, this is the final like kicker. Instead, okay, if you had this position and you had to convert and win, how would you do it? I think I would wager most people, most humans would just think, well, let me just give the check because this is forcing, right? King moves down and then you queen and you're good. It says it's an inaccuracy, but whatever. Like, look, takes, the king, you stick the rook here, you promote, you're winning. It's just the easiest way to convert. Black played knight b6. And they played it, I guess they took some time, and you'll notice the rook can't give any checks. You cut the rook off from promoting, so this is the most precise move. Anyhow, the opponent was banned. This took only a day. I don't think, unfortunately, that's very common for chess.com to be catching someone and banning them after only one day. Just so you guys know, correct me if you guys know and this is wrong, but I have seen Jack Sark's video on cheating on chess.com and have heard that they will not even look into a cheating if they don't have more than one report. So if you lost to someone who's cheating and you reported them, and we don't know, you can't know for sure if they're cheating, right? But they know. So if you report them and it's just you and no one else reports them, they're not even going to look into it. On top of that, you will not have your rating points refunded unless it's within 30 days of the game that you played. So think about how many games, how many cheaters were caught much later. I can think of a couple already that I have played where they were caught months later. And you're not getting those rating points refunded. So I got this message, I'll show you guys real quick today, and I was like, okay. Got this message from chess.com saying right here, we have detected one or more of your recent opponents violated our fair play policy. As compensation for potentially unfair rating losses, we adjusted your rating as following: 1884 plus 4 to 1888. Another thing that I've noticed is my rating isn't actually changing. It says I should be at 1888. That is the last game that I played. It's not at 1888. It's at 1884. I don't even know if they're refunding the points. So all of that brings me to basically one point, which is, guys, if you're playing a rapid game, I don't worry too much about blitz or bullet, but you know, because the time is ticking, you don't have a lot of time. But if you're jumping into a rapid game, check your opponent's profile. It's up to you whether you want to just abort if they made the account in 2024, like in the last year. At this rating level, I think that is perfectly reasonable. And what's the worst case scenario? They just play someone else. They just, the game's aborted. I get people abort games all the time against me because I play D4. So the worst case the worst case scenario is that they're like, oh, he aborted. And then they play it, and they jump into a new game. That's the worst case for everyone involved. If you do that, what's the worst case? If you play them and you don't check and you just play every single game, you play a lot of cheaters. And if you go check out their profile, if the account was made, especially in the last 2 months, and especially if you're at a rating like 1884, 1900, 2000 or more, just abort it. The odds, the likelihood of you facing a cheater, if the account was created in the last, let's say 6 months, is very, very high. It's or not necessarily high, but it's much higher than if you were playing an opponent who made the account in 2017, 2018, 2011, simply because of the time factor. If they're cheating, the odds that they were caught in all of that, that length of time, the odds that they were reported, looked into, whatever, it's much, much higher. So a lot of these people, they have new accounts because they had a previous account that was banned. So they made a new one. So just my advice, don't take the risk. Check out the profile, the account for every person that you're playing in Rapid. I wish we didn't have to do this, but if you guys don't want to be losing rating points playing someone who is not your rating, that you're playing stockfish, then just do that. I was so mad at myself yesterday when I forgot to do that. And I had seen right afterwards, the guy made the account like this year they were winning like crazy, high win percentages. It's like right off the bat, what are the odds that I'm going to win this game, even if my opponent blunders a fork? So I confirm chess.com has a serious cheating issue, and it's not chess.com, it's chess. It's online chess. It is unbelievable, and it's very sad. It's sad for multiple reasons because it creates paranoia. I do think that you shouldn't let it get to you too much. The best is just to be like, look, if I see they've made the account in the last year or so, 6 months, whatever, abort it. If they've have crazy win streaks or crazy high win percentages, abort it. Like I said, the worst thing that happens is that they just go on and play someone else and you keep your rating points and you don't take that risk. So unfortunately, that's just the best way to avoid the cheating, not have to think about it either, So I don't know what to say. Have a good day, everyone.